Hello, this is Brian Tatler from Diamondhead, and you're listening to Metal Nexus.
Today I'm with Brian Tatler, famously of the band Diamondhead. Sir, how are you doing today?
Well, thank you. We're traveling. We're on our route to Oklahoma, and we're playing Rocklahoma tomorrow night. We were in Austin, Texas last night. So, yeah, we're going well. Tour's progressing along nicely.
Yeah, last night, first night of your American tour, day off today, and then huge crowd waiting for you at Rocklahoma tomorrow. How excited are you to get in front of an American festival crowd?
Yes, that's right. I don't know if you know, but we went last year and we were due to play, and then there was a tornado. So all the bands that evening got cancelled, and they cleared the field. So, but they, kindly offered us the opportunity to come back, and so we said yes, of course. And so here we are on our way to actually play Rocklahoma.
Well, that's great. I'm sure those fans that missed you last year are definitely happy to get a second shot to see you. Hopefully the weather prevails and everything goes well tomorrow as well.
I can't hear you. Sorry. Can you say that again, please?
Yeah, hopefully the fans that missed you last year due to the weather will are excited to see you this year.
Yes, hopefully. Yeah, hopefully they'll have been waiting with bated breath for 12 months, and hopefully it'll go well this time, and we get to play, and it'll be a good one. It's a great festival. I mean, we went the day before, and we managed to see some bands. We saw Def Leppard and a couple of other bands, and then on the Saturday, the heavens opened, and everybody ran for cover. So, but yeah, it's going to be great this time.
Yeah, always have a great lineup of bands there. A lot of nostalgic acts as well. In addition to your American dates that you have booked, you also have some dates booked all the way through November with stops in Slovenia, France, Netherlands. I think 2 dates in London, and then Poland, Greece, Austria, Spain. So you're pretty much all over the world this year. What type of preparation do you go through to get ready for a huge tour like that throughout the year?
Well, we're almost constantly doing things like this. So we've recorded a new album last year, but it's normally in between tours and festivals and things like that. So we don't have. It's not like we have to go in and do a couple of weeks rehearsal or anything. We all know the material pretty much. It gets changed round, and we'll communicate what new songs we're going to put into the set. But we played last Friday in Germany in a festival called Rock Hard, and that was great. And so it was just a case of coming over and then doing a little bit of prep. But we're pretty much gigging all the time and have been for a few years. So it's a well-oiled machine, shall we say.
Now, how much of the new material from the 2016 self-titled album is making it into the set list?
In total, we've done 8 of the 11 songs, but there's about 3 that we seem to do each time, and then we mix it up a little bit. We do Bones, we do Set My Soul on Fire, we do Diamonds very often, and we've done Shout at the Devil quite a lot. So it's nice to be able to put some new material in, and it makes it more exciting and more interesting for us.
Yeah, I definitely love the self-titled album. I think Raz's vocals
Thank you.
really suits the band. What went into getting him into the band? What kind of process was that like?
I'll pass you on to Raz. He can tell you himself. Okay. Do you want to do that?
Sure.
You go.
Hello.
Hey, Raz, how are you?
Yeah, I'm okay. Just chilling out while we're trying to get to Rocklahoma.
The man with the golden pipes. How is it?
Thank you so much.
How is it to be fronting one of the most iconic bands in heavy metal?
It's a big honor. it's a big honor and a responsibility, and I just try and do as much justice as I can, and keep building on what is already a phenomenal legacy.
Yeah, with a band that does have a long legacy like that, was there a lot of nervousness at first whenever you stepped up to the mic to put your voice to such an iconic band?
No, I wouldn't say nervousness, but there was always a question of I hope that the fans will appreciate my addition to both the old songs and also what we've written as new songs. It's obviously very hard to fill those shoes, and especially when it's something as big and as important as Diamondhead have been as an influence. So, I just try and do the songs justice and also continue on the legacy, like I said. But yeah.
Yeah, I certainly think you have done the songs justice, and I think you bring a youthful vitality to the band that really is going to reach maybe a younger fan base as well as the older fan base too. Do you feel that the older fan base has welcomed you with open arms?
Absolutely. I mean, I think you can never win everyone, and I understand that and respect that. Have a memory of the original line of the original band, what they listened to when they were kids or teenagers growing up, etc. That's completely fine. So you can never really win everyone over, but in general, I'd say about 99% of all fans have all come up and been very positive and appreciative and said thank you so much, and you really rocked these songs, and you remind me so much of Sean and all that, and that's a huge compliment, obviously. So I take that in with open arms. And we do find, especially when we did this last release as well, that we did see a younger audience as well showing up, which was good to see.
Yeah.
So it's becoming a mixture of fans, both old and new.
Yeah, I agree. Raz, it's great to hear your voice. Hopefully the next time I hear your voice, I'll be witnessing you on stage, hopefully. So I'll finish everything out with Brian. It's great talking to you as well.
Oh, hang on, let me just pass so we can say that to him in person.
Okay.
And hopefully see you as well from the stage.
Yeah.
I'll pass you to Brian.
Thanks.
Hello.
So Brian, I know you've been working on this new album that's set to release sometime this winter. Is the last status I heard, everything was pretty much finished except the mixing. Is it complete now?
No, we've still got another song to go and a few tweaks, so it's not quite ready yet.
Have there been any names kicked around for the album yet?
Yeah, we've got a title, and there's a song, it's taken from one of the song titles, but we don't want to release it just yet. We want to wait to make a big deal of it. So I've been keeping stum on that one.
Yeah, definitely understand that. Now, on the self-titled album, I felt like you kind of went back to the style and sound of Lightning to the Nations. Is the new album a continuation of that same sound, or do you feel there's been some progression?
There's probably a little bit of progression. We think it sounds better sonically. We've spent a bit more time on it, but we have this brief where it should sound like Diamondhead, and we try and filter out things that don't, and focus on, the style and sound that happened many moons ago. We appreciate that, fans still like that, and I wouldn't want to move too far away from it. And I do have a style, so we may as well make the most of that.
Yeah,
it seems to work.
When something's not broke, you don't have to worry about fixing it, right?
Well, I think we made the mistake of experimenting and moving away from that initial album that everyone seems to still like. And in hindsight, we probably should have stuck with it, really. But it took a few years and a bit of experience to appreciate what we had, and in turn what you lose. So if we'd have been successful straight off, we may have stuck to a style, a formula like some bands do, but we didn't, and so I think we were constantly looking for the magic formula, not even appreciating that we'd probably already found it, but we kind of left it behind. It was a strange situation, but what do? You're a very young band. We were signed at at 21 and stuff. And that first album, we were only like 19 when we made Lightning to the Nations. So there's a naivety, and we didn't know everything.
Yeah, now I know in the past you've said that the band has dealt with some amateur managers throughout the years, and now you're with Thrashville Management with Justice Mustaine, son of Dave Mustaine, which you have a connection with the family, and they have an immense respect for your talents as a musician. What do you feel they bring to the table to help Diamondhead succeed even more?
Well, obviously, the professionalism and the contacts. We've still not even had a proper face-to-face meeting with them yet, because, of course, Diamondhead's an English band. We're over in the UK, and we've been recording, touring ever since. But we've set up a meeting while we're over here, and we hope to meet up on Sunday, I believe. So that'll be nice. And then, I've known Dave for a long time now. I think we first paths crossed in 1991. We went to see Megadeth at Cambridge Chord Exchange and spoke backstage. Then Dave graciously agreed to play on the 1993 album Death and Progress, and we toured. We did a huge European tour with Megadeth in 2005. So we've sort of stayed in touch a few times over the decades. And then Dave got in touch in December and asked about management. We haven't even had a manager for 10, 15 years, so we've sort of done it all in-house. And we never really had professional management back in the day. It was always a bit amateurish, a bit learning on the job, so it's nice to be working with professional people who know what they're doing and done it before.
Do you feel like it takes a lot of weight off the band's shoulders unless you just focus on the music?
Yes. I mean, there's still a transition period to be worked out. It's not like you can just suddenly, hand everything over. Right. But we're on the right direction, and there's a lot of communication between both parties, so we're getting there.
Now, speaking of how long the band's formed, you formed over 40 years ago in 1976. There's been a lot of changes in the music industry in that time period. Is there anything major that you've liked or disliked in regards to the changes that every music has went through?
I like the digital recording. I'm not sure what word I'm missing, but
like Pro Tools?
Once upon a time, when Diamondhead were making records, they were very expensive. You had 24-track studios, and they'd be up to like £1,000 a day. Yeah. So unless you had a label or, somebody with lots of money, it was very difficult to make a good quality album. And now, the invention of digital, you can do one yourself in your own house. And we can make albums now cheaper than we did back in the 80s and 90s, where you'd spend a small fortune and it would make it very difficult to recoup on the investment. And so labels were less likely to sign bands on the off chance. And I think a lot of times now you can make your own record. You can release it yourself, or you can pitch it, to a label almost as a finished product. You don't have to rely on, a label paying for everything. So that's been a positive. It's like you say, so much has changed in 40 years with digital and with internet and social media. It's a completely different world now. I mean, just as a quick example, I think when Lightning to the Nations came out in 1980, I saw one review in Sounds, and on the last album, I must have seen 50.
Yeah.
And we're not even on a major label; we're still on an indie. So that's how much it's moved on.
Now, I know in the past you've said that you were influenced by bands like Led Zeppelin and Rush. Are there any bands in modern metal that have inspired or impressed you?
Not so much, because I don't want to be chasing somebody else's tail, really. I think the initial bands that influenced me, lots and lots of 70s classic rock bands. When you're a teenage, you're very it's very easy to soak up the influences. You're a sponge, and it all goes into the melting pot, and that's what created Diamondhead and the style and the sounds and the songs. And if I was just listening to lots and lots of modern metal bands and saying, oh, we should do a bit like this and we should do a bit like that, then we would just be a second-hand version of that. So I tried not to do that. I mean, I'm very impressed by certain bands and certain songs and sounds, but I think it'd be pointless to just, follow somebody else now at this stage of the game in 40 years and suddenly try and sound a bit like, that's a bit like Avenged Sevenfold. It'd be completely weird, wouldn't it? So we try to have that brief where we try and sound like Diamondhead and develop the style.
Now, also talking about some of the earlier years, some people may or may not know that Diamondhead played alongside AC/DC during the last 2 ever gigs with Bon Scott. And for you, a musician who's dealt with different vocalists in a band, how do you feel about Axl Rose currently fronting AC/DC?
Okay, well, I haven't seen them. I've only seen a couple of things on YouTube, and I think he's got a great voice. I'm a big fan of Appetite for Destruction. I think it's a brilliant album. So I actually think he sounds good in AC/DC. I think he's got the right range and for that kind of stuff, because Bon had a very high voice. Of course, Brian Johnson's got a very high voice. So I quite like it. I mean, yeah, you could argue it's not exactly what you want. It's not the original line, blah, blah, blah. I get that all the time. But it's still a good show, an AC/DC show. I've probably seen AC/DC probably 11, 12 times, and it's always great. Angus is, for me, always the most watchable member of that band. I can't take my eyes off Angus Young. So a lot of people go and see the classic songs and Angus. He's probably the only irreplaceable member of that band. So I'm okay with it. But having said that, I didn't go and see them.
Now, also talking about other bands as well, during the Big Four's tour, of course, they covered Am I Evil with various members from the bands coming out. Anthrax, Dave Mustaine come out there, James Hetfield. Yeah. How did it feel being honored in such a way by those caliber of bands?
Very, very flattering. I was honored to have the Diamondhead song that I co-wrote, Am I Evil, covered. And I thought to myself, wow, of all the songs in the world you could pick, they picked Am I Evil. So that is a huge compliment, and about how much they like that song and think that's the one that they could all agree on that they should cover. Because there must have been other songs suggested, maybe a Judas Priest song or a Black Sabbath song. And for them all to settle on Am I Evil, is a huge compliment. I mean, it is our biggest song, and it's the one that always goes down the best. So, I love it. Still think it's a great song. But to see all those bands come out. The first one was in Sofia, wasn't it, Bulgaria, and it was on the net, and then I got to play it with them when Diamondhead opened for the Big Four in Sonisphere. Oh, okay. And Sonisphere in France, so two huge festivals, and I was invited up to play Am I Evil and Helpless. Awesome.
Now, final question for you, Brian. I feel you were one of the driving forces in the new wave of British heavy metal, which is still a very dominant genre today.
Yes.
What do you feel has kept that genre alive and popular when other genres seem to fade away in popularity?
Some good albums, some good songs, some good bands. I mean, obviously you've had Maiden and Def Leppard and Saxon still surviving, still out there. But other bands have come and gone and still out there doing it. Girls' School have been going ever since, I think 1978. Diamondhead have been going on and off, we've been touring since 2000 really, when the band last got back together, and so that's nearly 18 years of touring and making records and keeping it alive. So it does seem like now is a good time for a reassessment of the new wave of British heavy metal, and it is a very well respected genre and influential to a lot of bands, nod to it as it being important. And it's probably still some classic songs in there that people still get off on today. And of course, it's the 40th anniversary next year, 2019. So I think there'll be a lot of big events and festivals and maybe double bills and things of new wave British heavy metal bands out next year doing their thing.
Now, in addition to your performance tomorrow at Rocklahoma, you got dates in Michigan, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and Illinois. We certainly hope all our listeners get out and reap the opportunity to see you while you're here in the States.
Yes.
Also, pretty much any Diamondhead fan can find someplace close by to see you, of course, throughout the end of the year, as you got many tour stops in various countries throughout Europe as well.
Yes.
Brian, we appreciate your time so much today. We can't wait for the album in 2000 in the winter. We certainly hope it gets here a little sooner. And
great, thank you.
We immensely appreciate your time today.
Okay, awesome. Thanks for the interview. It's been a pleasure.